All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have a couple additions under the consent agenda and resignations of Jocelyn Avia and Chloe Allwater. And other than that, those are the two additions, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Curtis,
Second it.
Jill, moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Curtis and Ryan Ruda. Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, recognitions.
I have a couple of recognitions to make. First and foremost, well, not foremost, but first one is for the greater, just general greater educational community found here in the land of Longhorns. Having come through the second year now, second half year with COVID, very, very pleased with the progress that's been made and just, the sheer, pull your socks up and keep after it sort of nature. Not all districts have experienced the seamless approach that's gone on. And yeah, we had some little kerfuffles here and there. Yep, absolutely. But mostly had gone smoothly, and I expect it to continue so. So that's a celebration. Number two, we had our KSD audit. This is what sets our budget. And we actually picked up 2 FTE, so that's a good thing. Generally, they take money away. They gave some to us, which is a good thing. So now we'll actually have a budget. Prior to that getting done last week, it's kind of a, we think we have a budget, but now we we know we do. And finally, the culminating fact of what school is about is when the kids walk across the stage for seniors. So celebration and recognition of all the good hard work of 13 plus years, in order to earn the opportunity to walk across the stage to move on to the next stage of life. So kudos to the seniors.
Okay. All right, let's move to financials, and Mike.
Okay, on page 2 up at the top, CDW government, just point out we're getting some Chromebooks, $16,750, and that's just our portion. The bigger portion is coming through some funds through the state. That Randy's been doing a really good job of getting us a lot of good technology lately, with different money coming through the state and the federal government. Page 2, down at the bottom, Flatlands Quality Woodwork. We're getting some coffee stuff for the coffee shop, $6,000 worth there to help them do stuff in the library, move that to the library for them. And then on page 4 at the top, KSB that you guys approved, membership fees, $12,215. So the warrants total for this month are $363,336.53. And then page 9, our cash balances are doing good. And then page 11, we're doing good with our balances, budget balances as well. And then back behind that's the high school and middle school reports. So if you have any questions.
If no one has any questions for Mike, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financials at $363,336.53.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan Ruda and Ryan Schreibel. Moved and seconded to approve the financials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have
Yep, public, yes we do.
Okay, and we have one public patron concern.
Ms. Davis has asked us to come and speak before the board, so if you'd mind, please, stepping up to the microphone and sharing your good news.
You even got Ella to come back.
Yeah, it is. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rachel Davis. I was hired as the new girls head swim coach this year. This is our 5th year of having a swim team, and I kind of wanted to just reach out and let you know how the season is going. It's not a very visible sport, so I just thought I would come and brag on my girls a little. This year we have 15 members. 14 are active swimmers, and that's the largest team we've ever had. Every meet we've had this year, we've placed in the top 5 overall. We have won first place in our first swimming meet for school history, so we beat out 5 other teams for that, and that's a really big deal. We had 79 personal records, 94 top 5 finishes. We've broken 7 school records, a total of 13 different times. Every single swimmer on our team this year has scored points in a meet. So it's very similar to track that, it's a team, but it's actually based off individual scores as well. And when I looked back, that's the first time in team history that has happened. So all 14 swimmers have scored points. We have 2 relays that are ranked top 25 in the state of Kansas for all 1A through 5A schools. And for the first time in school history, we are sending a relay team of 4 girls to the state meet. You'll remember a few years ago, Lauren Jones was able to go on a consideration time, but this year we just completely skipped that, and they have qualified, so we are for sure going, and that's next weekend. And we also have 6 other consideration times, either in relays or individual events. So I'm kind of just bragging on my girls. They're phenomenal. I brought Ella with me. She is a graduated senior now, but I thought you should maybe hear from someone who's on the team what you're saying yes 5 years ago has meant to her.
Good evening. I would like to take the time to thank you for allowing the swim team to happen in 2018. This program has had a positive impact on my high school career. I have been a competitive swimmer since I was 7, and being able to continue that in high school has been a huge blessing to me. This team has had great success, as Coach has said. The team has 15 members, which is a program high. We also won our first meet, is sending a relay to state, and have multiple state consideration times and school records beaten. While the success is great, this team and I have something even greater: amazing coaches, friendships, memories, and a love for a sport that will provide lifetime fitness. So thank you for all that you guys have done.
You're here.
I'm here. One thing that we've really been impressed, like Coach said, we haven't finished less than 5th, and that means we've beaten Liberal every meet we've been to. We've beaten Hayes every meet we've been to. We've beaten Dodge half the meets we've been to. When we went to campus, we beat 3 or 4 Wichita schools, on and on and on. With our 15 members, all the meets we go to, the only teams that we've been smaller than have been Garden and Great Bend, I believe, and we had bigger teams in most of the Wichita schools. So it's just been a terrifically successful season. A lot of credit goes to the girls. Obviously, Coach Davis is doing a fantastic job. Our parents have done a terrific job as well. So like Coach Anella said, I just really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you.
And we're like the 5-time GWAC swimming champion.
We are undefeated in the GWAC conference. So.
Gotta appreciate that. Yeah, there are several factors that people take into account for to deem a successful program. People, I think, are misguided to think it's all about state championships and whatnot. To me, it's about improvement and dedication and growth of the program. And just listening to the data that was shared and after meets shared with the district, it is incredible. What's going on. It's a growing, strong program. And when we open up the pool again, well, we wish we wouldn't have to travel so much. I said if, or maybe said when. Anyway, kudos to you and to the kids and the dedication that goes into be just growing like you are. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations on a great year.
All right, we will move to administrative reports and Dr. Myers.
All righty. If you've not been out to the farm area, you need to get out there. We've got a barn coming up. The deadline on that, the punch list date is July 31st. I talked about last month. I'd be shocked if it's not it will be on time, if not earlier. There's no way around it. They're just really doing a nice job of getting it done. So impressed with their work ethic and just in general approach to doing business. Second, we have the insurance committee. We'll be having another meeting in the near future. Tomorrow, Mike and I have a meeting with our insurance rep. We have our United Healthcare proposal. It's not what we want it to be, and Blue Cross Blue Shield is interested in helping with our health insurance. So we'll take the meeting tomorrow and set up a meeting in the next week or two to finalize our health insurance moving forward. The ESSER 3 application process. I was supposed to hear today where we're sitting with the final hurdle before it goes to the tribunal. But I did not hear back. There was just one little piece that they wanted to know about, and I'd given them the information they needed. If everything comes through the way it's supposed to, this will fuel a school resource officer for us, our new art position down at the elementary school, summer school, next summer, we're good for this year, and paras that we're working with learning loss and social emotional health specifically. The money needs to be out the door by September 30th of 2024. So we've got 2 years to be investing the money and using the money. I will be calling them again tomorrow and say, hey, where are we? Because it goes to the tribunal and then it goes to the State Board of Education before we can start tapping it. Right now we're working with our ESSER 2 monies. That gets us through the summer, gets the school year started. So we're fine as long as they continue to work with us. A not so good thing, it's more of a real challenge. We are in an absolute hiring crisis now for busing world and food service. My directors work their skin to the bone trying to get people, but it's extremely difficult. And so much so, if we cannot find more bus drivers, our choice will be to cut routes next year. You know, that's what our choice will be. Sam is in the process of putting together plans A, B, C, D, and E on this. One of those plans is we don't have routes if we can't find drivers. You know, in Sam's report, you're going to see that he's down 4 drivers. So we just need to find. The problem is there's a lot of hoops to get through to get a CDL to become a bus driver. We're looking at potentially starting their own CDL program here at school. So a kid gets out of here at 18, they have a CDL in their pocket. I don't know if they can physically drive at 18, you know, for a school, but at least they'd have a CDL and maybe we'd get them to come back, you know, at 21, if that's one of those requirements. If anyone has any interest whatsoever on being a bus driver and or a cook, we would love to talk with you. We want to make things work as best we can. And then last thing is, the end of the year luncheon is this Friday at 12:30. Board members, you're all invited. We'd love to see you there.
At the high school?
At the high school. Yep, that's it.
All right, buildings, Tom.
I'll have Dr. Myers, the barn. He told me today it will be finished by the end of the month, and we will be doing a walkthrough the second week of June.
The end of May? Really?
I talked to Michael today, and he said it will be done.
Since Tom's not, here, come here, Mike, please. Step up there with your Hawaiian shirt and share. Yeah, dude.
But anyway, the barn, he told me today, Michael, what's Michael Taylor?
Yeah.
He said today that the barn will be done by the end of the month, and we will be doing our walkthrough. So whoever wants to join me with the walkthrough, I'd be much grateful, because I don't want to. I can do it on my own, but I'd like to see the 3 that's on the FFA to maybe come and say I don't like that or like this. So and
Oh,
that's,
the committee? Yeah. We'll talk about it.
when we pick on it, you know. I mean, it looks really good as of today. You know, I was over there for an hour walking around looking, and it looks really good. So.
2 months in advance. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, really impressed with their work.
Yeah, that never happens.
In construction, no, it does not. Time and more money is what it is.
Thanks, Tom. All right. We don't have grounds because he's
Right, and no, nothing further to add for
nothing. Okay. So transportation, Sam,
Call on up, Sam. Maybe
our
you,
magic bus driver.
maybe your
man.
appeal will get drivers.
Drives 3 buses at
If you,
once.
if you cry a little bit, it helps.
I might.
If you break down into tears.
Dr. Meyer said it right. We're just, no matter what I do, the restrictions have gotten more, because I don't know if you guys have heard about the ELDT stuff that the state come out with, entry-level driver trainer. So that puts us another obstacle in the way before they even complete their driving license, and, you know, people can leave, we can pay them for 3 or 4 weeks and then to train, and then they can leave us, and then we can still have paid for the cost of the entry-level driver trainer. So, but I got a few recruits on the line. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to figure out how we can make some kind of a commitment, or maybe make it prettier for them. I don't know. But that's about where we're at. Several different options. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, in the future.
Yeah, as we get closer to next school year, because the countdown is beginning, obviously, it's the doggone train tracks. You know, just so you know, there's nothing in the law that says transportation has to be provided, particularly within 2.5 miles of the attendance center. Nothing. We just choose to do that because we choose to do that, and it's a safety factor. But if we don't have people who can sit in the bus and drive it, we can't very well offer a route. So, Sam's, you know, he's now a defensive driving instructor. We're looking at, you know, we're looking at options so we can start building our own. We're pretty heavily we've got a recruitment plan in place where people bring forward a person who becomes a driver. They get paid for having done that. So we're not just sitting around twiddling our thumbs, hoping and wishing in one hand and hoping and wishing in the other hand that drivers will show up. And by the way, we're not alone in this. Every other
That's
district.
everywhere.
Every other district. And an option is, I'm just kind of thinking it's going on, we could outsource busing, hire another company, but I don't know who they would get to drive. Because
I think
drivers
they
aren't
would have
there.
the same issue really out here.
Yeah. So,
If we cut off routes, we're gonna have to seriously think about doing our roundabout here.
yep, because the morning traffic would
Flow through.
go up, I won't say exponentially, but it'll go up a bunch. It'll go up a heck of a bunch. Yeah, so it's a domino effect.
Well, me and Dr. Myers have kind of spoke. We're thinking like we got to have some kind of a draw a line in the sand, so to speak, and by the end of May, if we don't have something, we got to pick a direction. I mean, that's not the way it's going to be, but that's kind of what we were talking about. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. All right, Monica, Food Services. Okay. How about you, sir? Do you have anything new? Oh, you do?
Will you
All
come
right,
to the mic, please,
come to
Mr.
the
Ackerman?
mic. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for coming to the mic.
In 1995, a forward-thinking school board put in fiber optic cable from building to building in the district. That was before we even had internet in the district, so it was very forward-thinking at that time. But we didn't even have dial-up in the district at that point. That fiber is getting it's showing its age, and we had an opportunity to do an E-rate grant for. The district can't purchase the fiber, but we get what's called lease-lit fiber. It gives us a chance to lease it at a very low cost, but have it installed. And we were approved for that grant. We actually end up getting $223,000 from E-rate and another $23,000 from the state matching program. So just shy of $250,000 to install the fiber throughout the district. And that'll start taking place sometime in June. So we'll have a construction crew here this summer that will be digging up grounds to bury fiber and install that to all the district buildings, the transportation building, the maintenance building, the FFA building, and the press box. So a real good opportunity to increase our value of what we have as far as fiber, pardon me, and should extend us again another 20 to 25 years and be set pretty good for that time going forward. So a real good opportunity for the district, save a lot of money.
I was going to ask you, 25 years worth of good. I mean, things happen, but it kind of sets us up for the future.
I would expect easily 25 years of service, 20 to 25 years of service. We've gotten 27 out of older type fibers. So.
and I don't have the numbers in my head specifically, but you know, Mike alluded to it. You know, Randy's been very aggressive over the last year and a half at least, helping with funding options to bring in more technology for the district. And what that does is it offsets our capital outlay money, so we don't have to spend it, so we can build a barn or some other, or
Yeah.
the new playground over at the other school. So kudos to Randy. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We're talking millions of dollars. We've saved millions of dollars in money from COVID money in particular, but lots of grants that we've been able to fund the computer devices, laptops, desktops, Chromebooks. Really, the only place that we need to upgrade is middle school, and that's because the EMINTS program is ending this June.
And what a nice segue. We have some.
Yep. And it's time to retire those Chromebooks, and that's after that, the district is sitting really well. Again, due to federal programs that help us with the money, but we've really been able to save the district a lot of money to be able to use in other places. So
Well, as once said, it takes a village, and thank you, Randy, for being a part of that village.
absolutely,
Hey, Randy, will that grant cover the whole cost of the fiber?
it covers the whole cost of the fiber. And again, it's called a lease-lit program. E-Rate offers a chance to purchase fiber and have it installed, but it's very rarely approved. So if we go with a lease-lit program, the installation can be paid for, and then we lease it every year. Costs us like $2,000 every year. And they basically provide the transceivers that light it up, and then they maintain it. So if we ever have any fiber cuts or I have a problem with the fiber anywhere, they come out and take care of that. So
Could we use any of that money to hire bus drivers?
I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you. It's one-
Pioneer submitted a bid for it, but they did not win it. Yeah, we had vendors from across the state and outside of the state come in and try to bid for it. A company called Wanrack was the winning bidder.
Thank you, Randy.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ackerman. All right, we will move to our principals and Mrs. Albright.
Okay, I just want to talk about a few things. And on April 22nd, we had preschool and kindergarten roundup that hasn't been done for a few years, and we wanted to try to bring it back to see if we could get a few more families pre-enrolling their young children. And we had 95 come and enroll, so we had pretty good turnout. We had 43 kindergarten students enrolled, 36 4-year-olds, and 16 3-year-olds. So we're excited about that, and we've had a few more come into the school and enroll as well. So that gives us a really good idea of what our numbers are looking like next year. And we've also talked to a few families that haven't come to enroll that we know that are returning, so that's good news. I also wanted to kind of brag on my teachers and students, since we're kind of at the end of the year and we've wrapped up our end of the year testing. My teachers have done a great job this year at really honing in on small group instruction in the tiered approach, and really working hard with the students to kind of make sure that we're learning and we're gaining. And so in our reading FastBridge scores, 59% of the students had typical or aggressive growth, and followed by 32 with modest, and some of those were right on the edge of that typical growth, and we only had 9% flat growth. So that was pretty good for our reading scores. In our math scores, we had 67% were typical or aggressive growth, and we had 19% modest and 14% flat. So those are some reports that we've really been digging into this year and showing the teachers. You know, we may have some students who are at high risk from the fall all the way to the spring, but if you take a look at their growth, that really kind of shows the learning that's occurring. So we're pretty proud of that, and I'm really proud of my teachers. So
your author's tea today was thumbs up.
yes, we did have author's tea.
All right, thanks, Mrs. Albright. Mrs. Tyne.
So I would just like to start by talking about summer school. We are working right now to get that set up and get going for a few of our students. We have at Holcomb Elementary School 34 students signed up for summer school this year, so we're excited about that. That will run for 3 weeks this summer, and it's just a great opportunity to keep books in students' hands and just give them a variety of learning opportunities. Our theme is Outdoor Explorers, so we will try to tie the things that we do into that theme. Second of all, I just want to mention, and I will probably mention it next month as well, a few years ago, Mrs. Novak got involved with Stuff the Bus with Finney County and tried to get Holcomb involved in that. And so she passed that along to me, and so we just had our first meeting, and we start working and gathering supplies out here at Dollar General, and our teachers work out there as people come in, and that is June 9th and 10th. And that is, they'll have locations in Garden as well, but we'll be out here in Holcomb. And then the distribution is June 22nd, and we will do our best to get that information out for families so that our students can also go in and take advantage of that awesome program. So I'll bring that up again next month as a reminder. And then also just wanted to celebrate students and teachers with our author showcase today. With the exception of fear of not quite enough cookies, and had to tell the parents, can you hold off in one group, because I was getting a little nervous about the number of cookies. Everything else went great. I had some parents comment just about the difference in their child's writing, the difference they can see in the sentences that they're writing, and just the vocabulary that they're using. Kids were really excited to share all of that, and so I know teachers worked really hard this year. It was an additional thing that we just tried to put our focus on, and I think both students and teachers would agree that it was successful. So it was nice to have the opportunity today to share that with parents and with families.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Helton.
Just two things. First, and I'll submit it, I was going to come up and read it, but it's rather lengthy, so I can put it in record. Just an individual recognition for each teacher in honor of Appreciation Week, everything they do for our building. We have an amazing staff, and I think the climate survey data that I shared with you in my report reflects that. We focus on relationships at our school. That is a cornerstone of who we are. And I think 99 or 97.9% said they had at least one teacher who they could go to. Of course, we want 100, but I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of our staff for that. That's our third year collecting climate survey data. Pretty consistent as far as relationships and safety go. Two areas that we added this year that were new to kind of gauge where students are on it were vaping and a little more direct question on social media bullying, cyberbullying, like that. I think it's good that 2/3 of our students recognize both of those as a problem. Finding the solutions, that's where we got to get our hands a little more into that. But I'm glad they recognize the problem. And I will say that one thing we've had to fight for a year and a half is the idea of the snitch mentality, that we can't report things that are wrong because then we're snitches. I will say that I have data that we're working on that and getting better at that. Students more willing to come forward when they see something that's not right to report it. So that's a positive as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
I'd kind of like to echo what the other principals are saying, just about as far as thanking staff and students that we had. We're rounding up, finishing out the school year. This has been an awesome first year. I never thought in a million years I'd ever want to be a principal, and then it happened, and I really love it. Yeah, I love being in the classrooms. I love being around the kids. The kids right now that we have at the high school are really engaging. good kids that treat each other really well. They've been fun to work with and fun to talk to, as far as like student councils, as fun as just walking into the classroom, SAD meetings, all the different things that we have with them. Our teachers have been awesome, engaging with the kids, have been open to working on some new stuff. Standards-based grading is still a big push that we're still really working towards, and our staff are engaged into that, so that's really good. We finished this week off with graduation, which it was really good because they had a script typed out for me, so I just didn't have to mispronounce words, which I was like 75% on that, so I felt good about that. I think it's really cool whenever I put in the board report how many kids we have going to Garden City Community College. I think that's really a cool thing, that we're over half of our students from the senior class are going on to Garden City Community College. They're taking advantage of that, and I think that's a part of that partnership we've already established, where dual enrollment papers were due this week, and we have 88 students already committed to taking classes at Garden City Community College next year while still maintaining our high school kids. So we have a good partnership there. They continue to expand programs for us, and our kids are taking advantage of it. So it's been a good year.
Thanks, Jerry. I was kind of hoping for like an inspirational speech at graduation from you, but
I don't really have those.
it was inspirational anyway. All right, let's move to unfinished business and E-Mints presentation.
All righty, as alluded to, Tyler alluded to this, we're finishing up the E-Mints project, the grant project we received 3 years ago. In a broad macro sense, I'll say a few words, then turn it over to Ms. Nemechek and the students who are here. The idea behind E-Mints is to help the staff become better and better versed at truly infusing the use of technology into learning. So it's not just we go do this special project now with technology, it's just part of life. And that's where we are headed, obviously. And so we got involved in this program, and Ms. Nemechek has been just pivotal in making sure that it keeps where it's going. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Julie, and take it where it needs to go.
When you came in, there was a PowerPoint presentation that was running. When E-Mints began, the 7th and 8th grade core teachers were participating in this grant, and there's a series of projects we did. This is a picture of one of the first ones we did, where they had to build a rocket, and they launched it. They were using 2-liter pop bottles to launch them and figure out what they could do differently to make it work better. The next project that they participated in was creating, the project needed to be centered around something that would help our school community. This was during COVID, and you'll notice the gallon jug on that PVC pipe stand. That was hand sanitizer, and so they created those and built those as their first project to make something better in the for the school community. And this year, they have worked on a project that not only will benefit the school, but the community as well. And we're going to let our students present on the project that they've been working on this year. You guys ready?
And Julie, if you'll make sure they speak into the microphone, please. And make sure the green light's on.
As you know, at the beginning of the year, we worked on the E-Mints disc golf project. We created a map of the course, prototypes for different discs, and pamphlets for information about disc golf. But do you know the history and basic rules of disc golf? If not, then listen closely. Disc golf was first created in the 1900s by a man named Ed Hedrick and was later made into an official association in 1976. Disc golf is now played around the world for fun and professionally. Now for the basic rules. Players will tee off from a tee box, which is where they'll start each hole. Then from where the frisbee lands, you'll throw again and again until you make it into the hole, or in this case, the basket. Remember, you want to have the lowest score after each hole, so try to make it into the basket with fewer throws. At the end of the entire game, you'll tally up the total scores and see which person won. Those are the basic rules of disc golf. And now on to Josh with the process of making the discs.
In science, we worked on making the discs. We had a fun time working on it. We got a partner 2 plates, tape, and washers. We had to use the information we learned to make a disc fly as far as possible. Some things we had to think about is how to get to fly the farthest, how to get to not turn, and good weight balancing. 4 types of discs are distance driver, fairway driver, mid-ranger, and the putter. The distance driver has the most range, turns the easiest, and is the lightest. The fairway driver is basically the same, except it has smaller rims and is easier to catch. The mid-ranger has more round noses and has more accuracy than distance. And finally, the putter, which is the heaviest and is used for short range. I think most people thought of it as a competition, so they try their hardest to win. Now on to Haley.
So this is what he was talking about. If you're not familiar with disc golf, you can look at these 3, and they say what kind they are on the top, and you look at the shapes of them, they're all different, and the differences will make them fly longer, shorter, different types of things.
Everyone's seen a bird, right? It could have been while on a walk, on a road trip, or simply just looking up in the sky. But have you ever wondered how they fly? How they are able to keep their body in the air for extended amounts of time? Or when you're flying and able to eat, drink, sit, stand, and sleep while riding in a plane? That's what we had to think about. The way we held it, the way we made it, and most importantly, the way we threw it.
In ELA, we had an assignment to make a pamphlet. We used Canva, and Canva is a free photo editing app. We used the app to create our posters about disc golf. There are several features that make design look easy. We also used it on many other assignments. For the disc golf poster, we got to select the desired template, customize the text, and chose the layout and background. We had groups, and all we had to do was come to an agreement and chose everything so everybody liked. It's also great for anyone. Even businesses use it to make logos. You can use it on your phone or iPad, but we got to use it on our Chromebooks. We also got to put the rules, how to play, history, information on the disc, and some fun facts. Some templates that they had are blank pages, flyers, logos, presentations, and posters. Me and my group used a blank page, and everyone in the group all agreed to change the background to a light pink. We added pictures, interesting facts, history, and changed our text. This is a really fun experiment and a great way to interact with our classmates. And now on to Matea.
I am going to be talking about the process of mapping out our disc golf course. Before we mapped anything out, we took a tour outside of the vicinity where the disc golf course would be. We measured with our feet the approximate distances between each hole. After we took a tour of the grounds where the disc golf would be, we started mapping it out. We were each given a map of the landscape and asked to complete our own map of how we think the course should look like. It was difficult trying to find the areas because we had to take into account so many different aspects. Where we could and couldn't go, where the starting and ending point would have to be, and where the holes should be while being in the right areas and having a good distance between each. The challenge of having to map it all out was a fun challenge that had us using our critical thinking skills. For the 8th grade as a whole, this project was a great learning experience. It helped us develop our creativity skills and brought us all closer together. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the presentation of our experience with the HMS eMIDS Disc Golf Project.
Do you all have any questions for them about the course?
Do we have to get some golf carts to go?
When do you anticipate it to be completed?
We'll need to work with Lance a little bit on,
Don't hit the fiber optic lanes.
Yeah.
Don't hit the fiber optic lanes.
Yeah, we need to do it before that happens. Yeah. So, work on it this summer.
Okay.
So, well, the starting point, if you look, it is on the west side of the middle school where the parking lot is. You start there over kind of by where that windmill is. You go up and around the tree line, and each one of those is a different hole that you go for. And then by the time you're done, it takes you back over to the Tanner Bourne putting green. So then you can just get back to your back to the parking lot, back to your vehicle, so it goes all around the back of the middle school. And as you can tell, we've made sure that we stayed away from FFA bar.
Are you continuing this like in the or more projects based off of this, or are you kind of done?
There will probably be some. They'll continue different projects, and some of the technology that we received from this grant. Mr. Berstrom teaches a CAD class now. They have the 3D printers that they make those projects with. WeVideo, they use the WeVideo as well. So there will be other projects that they'll continue to do.
Well, and as you listen to the presentation of the student, and very nice job, by the way. Public speaking is not an easy thing for people. Second biggest fear for adults in the United States of America, or number one, the biggest fear. They hit all four core. You know, there's English, there's history, there's math, and there's science, obviously. And then also, this is, going to be here for a while. And so it's also physical health. And we just, a little sidebar conversation about when will it be built, and Julie referenced Lance. Well, that means it's outside of the realm of just the school. They're going to have to engage with our grounds and our maintenance folk to see this through to the end. And then later on, there'll have to be a launching so that we make sure the populace knows that this is here. So kudos to all you. Nice job. And there are cookies if you like cookies. Right over here to the stage left.
Public speaking is easier than public eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I know it.
All right, let's move to the MTSS.
All right, MTSS is that's the shorter version of multi-tier system of supports. This is a system in place where we identify individual needs of students academically, math, ELA, and then also social emotionally. It's been in this approach to helping our kids flourish or grow, has been in the elementary schools as BS, before Scott, for at least 5 years. Randy, more than 5?
I remember talking about it like my first year on the board.
Okay, so it's been around. And so, I don't know, we had the epiphany. I mean, as we're looking at individual growth of our students, it just caps out at 5th grade. Why? Just because it always has. So actually, Tyler was the driving force behind this, of saying, well, shouldn't we expand this into the middle school, high school? So we got to looking at it and said, well, it makes perfect sense because academic needs don't cease to be just because the kid's now 11. Actually, when things start to show up, and particularly when you start talking about the social emotional side of things. So all the right paperwork has been filled out, and we are getting ready to launch into the acclimation and implementation of MTSS, that approach, in the middle school, high school. It will not be full-flung going by, in the first semester, that's for sure. But over the next couple of years, this approach will identify, and the idea behind it is to actually diagnose and help the individual kids on those areas I just mentioned. So, principals, anything you'd like to add?
I just would, well, I guess I need to get you all that Randy.
Thank you for being a brave soul, Tyler. Step forward.
I guess, like today, Mrs. Cranston and our counselor and I, we were looking at FastBridge scores for reading and for math for this quarter, for the spring. It's one thing to be able to look at the data, but then what do you do with it? And MTSS helps us put intervention classes in place to help kids who are further behind, or it provides them a structure to enrich the kids who are above grade level. MTSS is going to provide us some training and support for teachers to be able to do those things effectively. Right now, we wouldn't be we could try to create it on our own, but getting professional help from Topeka on this will help us do that more effectively. And also another part is if the middle school did it alone or the high school did it alone, it wouldn't be that effective in a bottle. Aligning our schedules, I think 6-12 is going to make MTSS more effective because then our 8th graders, as they leave the middle school, can continue that through high school. So I'm very excited about it.
And overall, there's the way students are kind of classified, if you will, as far as their academic needs. We have Tier 1. Everybody starts at Tier 1. That's just where we are. And as we identify issues, they move up the scale to Tier 2 and or Tier 3. And then following that, if we're still not able to address the needs and help the student, get lower the tier, that's the jumping off spot to where we move into the SIT process and potentially identify students with special ed needs. So it's a whole procedure and process that goes into this. It goes right in line with our approach with the individual plans of study and how we're trying to personalize the educational experience of each one of our kids. It's not 1987 where you just say, read that chapter and then take this test. That's just not how it is. In my personal belief, every assignment we have should hit all learning modalities as possible, minimally 3 of them, just so that every kid, not all people learn the same way. And with this approach in pocket, we will be better able to identify and diagnose the needs of each student. So it's exciting. The very first launching meeting was June 15, where Tyler alluded to, or flat out said, the Topeka folk will be coming out for free, which is nice. And there's a total of 4 or 5 full-day type trainings that they'll come out and make sure that the administration knows what's going on, and then we broaden it to the teachers, and it's a process of slow acclimation and then rolling it out. So you'll hear a lot about MTSS at the secondary levels coming down the pike in the next couple months, and also both elementary principals said it'd be nice to go kick the tires as well, because we've had a lot of turnover since this thing began, and so it's one of those struggles and challenges of leadership is to remember somebody new they weren't here 3 years ago, so they don't know about whatever it was. So we've got to go back and go over that ground again and make sure everybody's still up to verse. That's it. Any questions?
All right, let's move to handbooks.
This is a continued time of the year where we look at the different handbooks, and you have 3 more before you this fine evening. You have the middle school student handbook, the HES student handbook, and the middle school activity handbook. A lot of it is just editorial in nature and mechanical, making the names proper, fit everything out together. A big piece of work in a couple of those I'll mention is the middle school student handbook, the class time. Once again, Tyler alluded to the fact that we're aligning the schedules between the 2 buildings, which is a big deal to be able to have shared staff. So that's taking place within this handbook. The student handbook at HES, updated school supplies list. I mean, it's just a pragmatic thing. It's nothing glamorous, but it is important to have that in there. And last item, brought forth conversation last month, and it's the same stuff. The middle school activity handbook is adopting the same language from the drug testing policy that was put into play last month at the high school. So those are the big rocks, if you will, on the handbooks that I would recommend that you approve tonight.
I'd move we approve the 3 presented handbooks as presented.
Okay, Ryan Ruda.
Second.
Ryan Schreivogel. Moved and seconded to approve the handbooks as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, new business.
Hey, Jerry, get to the microphone, please, Jerry. This is a virtual school update. As you all know, we've been looking at the opportunity or the possibility of launching a virtual school for next year at the high school level. A very myopic approach, very surgical approach. It's not, the intention is not to just offer this out for everybody. It needs to fit the needs of each kid who goes into it. And so there's been a whole process taking place where Jerry and Amy Wickwer have taken the leadership on this, working through policies and handbooks and all the legal aspects of it in order to get this going, and had to hit all the different deadlines along the way with the KSDE. Well, we received verification, or word rather, late last week that they fully approved. We are fully approved to launch the virtual school if we so choose. Now, once again, just because we've set ourselves up to do it doesn't mean we have to do it. but we are in the place where we can choose to go to that dance if we want to. Jerry, if you just want to talk through a little bit about the SIT process, the curriculum, that kind of thing.
As far as what we plan to offer with it, the virtual school that we'll offer mirror Garden City's virtual school. It's through Edgenuity. We're very familiar with the program. We offer online classes, elective classes through Edgenuity, using Edgenuity's teachers now. So we would just continue that through our virtual program side of it. That's kind of what the basis of when we turned it in. Our handbook, we'll bring a handbook to you in June that outlines all the different procedures and plans of it. A lot that we had to do within this last, well, at the end of April, we had to have our submission deadline done, and that the questions they were asking is how do you monitor attendance on it? What do you do if a student isn't in compliance with attendance? How many credits are you requiring them to offer or to take? So a lot of those different things are covered in your handbook that you present. So like Dr. Myers was saying, we have the okay to do it. It'll be up to you guys for sure come June if this is when we present the handbook to say, yeah, this is what we want to do. This is how it's going to look. This is how the students get into it. As far as who will be a part of our virtual school. Right now, when we've talked, the way that it'll look is people will have to apply just like they do. And again, this is mirrored off Garden City Virtual School. They'll have to apply to get into it. It's not any student that just comes that wants to enroll says, nope, I want to enroll in this or I want to enroll in this school. It'll be an application process to say, I would like to go virtual. And then we'd have a committee as far as to determine if they would actually be suitable for it. Right now, there's students within our school that would be very capable of doing online virtual school that are interested in doing it, and we have some that would not be very suitable for it. If you have a problem showing up to school right now and getting work done right now in an in-person setting, you will not be successful in a virtual setting. But we have some students right now that are very capable of doing that, do a really good job of showing up to school every single day, getting the classwork done. The virtual setting is just what they prefer. There's not the social aspect at school that drives them to come. They're not involved in activities or sports or anything like that. They like to move through a faster progression, meaning that it's only a 21 credit offering, so they could get done quicker and get on to maybe college classes quicker if that's what they so choose to do. So there's a small group of kids in our school that it benefits, and those are the ones we're trying to offer it for, so we don't lose those kids. Because currently right now, those kids are still doing virtual school. They're just not doing them through us. We're losing those kids every year. And I would say we lose 5 to 6 kids per year through virtual. And I would even say COVID has really opened that door up more and more for those kids because they figured out that they could do the virtual model and they liked it. And so we lost 7 students from the beginning. Before school year started through the rest of this year, we lost 7 kids to virtual platforms that if we had their own, we would have kept them.
Just curious.
No.
Just curious, as far as start, is it a fall only start? Is there options to come in spring?
And that's all a part of what we decide that we want to do. We feel like if we get the funding for them, so let's say that they want to apply halfway through the semester and they just say, I'd rather just go to virtual. That'd be the committee's recommendation to say, or the committee's decision to say, yes, they'd be benefited of it or not. Mm-hmm. If we have that student that's in person, then we're getting funding for them. We don't see any reason why we wouldn't go ahead and offer the virtual setting if the student qualifies.
Any of the state board changes as far as open district have any merit on virtual? I mean, do they have to be students within our district to qualify for virtual? Or?
Currently, that's the vision.
Yeah.
That's the current vision.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the changes on the state board I don't think would affect it because we get to be the ones to determine if they go to virtual or not.
Correct.
So we don't have to accept out-of-district people. Now, there's a good question. The fact in 2 years, if that changes with the new policy of open borders, I don't know if that affects virtual school or not that way.
Yeah.
But currently, right now, we have we have the power within the district to determine who gets in and who doesn't get in.
I mean, it's putting the cart way ahead of the horse, but, 2 years from, let's say, just because of the open borders and somebody from Hayes wants to come to school here or whatever, doesn't mean they get to choose their placement. I mean, would be my argument, but we'll see about that, down the road. Altruistically, I'd like to see this expand, but like Jerry said, I'll reiterate his point, it does not fit all. I've been involved in virtual schools a long time and in previous districts, and you'd think the kid is going to do well, just doesn't. And not all teachers do well in virtual settings. It doesn't fit all personalities. And so the student who says, I don't come to school now, so now I will come to school, chances are they won't, because attendance is a behavior. But it is a good option to offer to some people as an opportunity, say maybe this will fit you. And Ryan, as far as coming in and out, I mean, Jerry gave you a nice pragmatic answer. I don't see any reason to shut the doors. When I've talked to people about other virtual schools out there, if you really want to know what they're about, the question is, you only have to ask 2 questions. Do they take special ed students, and do they accept enrollment after September 20th? If the answer is no to both those things, it's all about money. Well, I don't want to be anything about that. We need to be pragmatic. We want to pay the bills. And like Jerry says, we lose 7 or 8 kids a year. That's $56,000 or more than that, $64,000. At least we at $5,000 a pop. We're not losing the entire nut. We're keeping some of it.
And Edgenuity has built-in student success options there as far as tutoring and those aspects there as well, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what Garden City uses?
Yes. Most of your platforms in the state of Kansas, when we went to the virtual conference back in February, I would say 80% of the schools in Kansas that are virtual use the Edgenuity platform.
So it's just exciting that, and once again, I mean, there's more work to be done yet, and we'll come all the way up, somewhere, if not July, August for sure, say we're doing this or we're not. I mean, we'll be coming to you, to seek your permission to do it or not. And just in the fact that it's been approved, we could say, we're not quite ready yet. We'll open in January. We have the power, we can do that. We just have to have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. So we want to measure 3 times before we go cutting. Because we want to make sure this is a positive thing for everybody involved. And like I said, I wouldn't mind growing it down through 1st grade if with the right people, the right families.
Yeah, you got to find the right teachers too.
Absolutely. And real interest when we had our virtual school in the previous district, we went to what we thought were the best teachers and said, hey, why don't you do this? And some of them did not do well because what made them the best teachers were the in the room relationships and connection, and now you're trying to do this through a screen. It just doesn't, it's just not the same. So
it's basically like a full school day, and go a school year. So it's not like kind of like a homeschool. They can work ahead of schedule, or
they can. So the 2 things that you have to the 2 things that you have to offer in order to be considered a virtual school is freedom of time and freedom of place, they have to say. So we can't dictate when they work on it, and we can't dictate where they work on it. If we do, then they shut us down as a virtual school. So there's a minimum, according to our handbook is they have so many hours a week that they have to log, meaning that they can decide to do them all in 3 days, or they can do them across 5 days, however they want to do that. But they can work as fast a pace as they want to and try to get it done early, or they can work it slow as they want to, making sure that they still get in the minimum requirement of hours per day. So if they do the minimum requirement hours per day per week, they'll stay on track to be like a semester type classes. But they could work really hard and just go after it and work 7-8 hours a day on the one class, and they could finish that class early if they wanted to. That's the choice or the freedom of the virtual setting with it.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Jerry. Okay, we will move to use of football equipment.
it's just the annual request for the board to allow our student athletes to attend if they attend a football camp, to utilize our football equipment. This has been in place for a while now, but it does take board approval to make it happen every year. So I recommend that the board approve of student use of football equipment during the summer.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan, Ruda, and Curtis. Moved and seconded to approve the student use of football equipment during the summer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, out-of-state travel request.
You have two requests before you from two different sports programs. The high school cross-country team was requesting permission to go to Lyons or Raymond, Colorado, July 25th to the 27th for the kickoff of their summer running camp. And then 25 students are anticipated to take place, four adults. Matt, the coach, he's got a CDL, so he'll drive the bus. The cross-country team themselves will be footing the bill for the trip. And then simultaneously, the boys basketball team is seeking permission to go to Norman, Oklahoma from June 9 to 12 to attend a basketball camp. They anticipate 18 students with 3 adults. They'd be asking to use 2 school vehicles, Suburbans or the big vans, and the boys basketball team would foot the bill for the trip. So
Found one more.
I recommend the board approve of the presented request to travel out of state.
Do you have Matt DeWerf down as a bus driver?
Yeah, yes, he is.
Now, I found him. Sam.
Referral
I need that referral fee.
You are on the board. So, Ryan and Curtis. It's moved and seconded to approve the presented request for travel out of state this summer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, summer food service program.
For several years, past 6 summers, we're going to the 7th one. The district has offered summer food service program. It's free food for students, various combinations of snacks and meals. But it takes board approval to do so. We've received approval from the state. We're adjusting it this year, and this is indicative of our issues with trying to have cooks, having people, trying to find people. So we're looking at breakfast is going to be served at Holcomb High School and then transported over to the other two, or HES and WES. And then lunch will be served over here at Holcomb Elementary and transported over to WES. The high school, middle schools, they're just not around for lunch, so there's no reason to take food up to them. So in order that you cannot and will not enforce, I don't know that we can find the employees. It's a crisis. I was not joking earlier on. We can't find people.
A long time from June 10th till the first day of school for somebody to not eat.
Are you volunteering?
All
We
right.
can always change this, right?
Oh,
If we
yeah.
do find the people.
Yeah, we can adjust the application, couldn't we, Monica, to the state? Yes. Yeah, so you could, say operate this as presented, or with the possibility of extending it. We'll look, we try.
I'll amend my,
Just curious as far as qualifications, timeframes. What are you looking for on staffing?
For the summer?
Mm-hmm.
Summer, right now, okay, so our summer food service program is going to run meal serving times. Breakfast from 7:30 to 9:30, and lunch will be from 11 to 12:30. So what we're looking at right now is our individuals preparing breakfast are here for 6 hours. Our individuals preparing lunch are also here for 6 hours. So right now we're looking for somebody breakfast. Currently we have one person that can work breakfast to get it all done. And we have 3 that are able to do lunch. In the years past, we've had 4 at each location. So we are very short. Time frame
So if
for
they were
work.
they were serving 7:30 to 9:30, say that's a 6 hour, so they would need to come in.
Yeah, they're coming in at about 6 or 6:30 in the morning to get breakfast ready. And that's just because our breakfast numbers are not as high as our lunch numbers. So it's about 6:30. And then our lunch individuals are coming in at about 9:30.
age requirements?
18, yeah, 18.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to help, we're ready.
And Monica's, we put it out on social media. Linda still helps us with that. We're putting out flyers. It's word of mouth. It's like how we hire people.
How about some high school students that might be looking for a summer job?
I'm sure we have to look into legalities of that. I mean, there's probably, they could clean, I'm sure, but they couldn't be anywhere near any sharps whatsoever, any cutting devices or anything.
I'm just seeing, if the rec can hire at 16, why not the school?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Monica.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to include, or to go, if we can get more help to run it longer, then we'll go that direction.
Okay.
Second.
Curtis.
And we will try.
Casey and Curtis. Been moved and seconded to approve the summer meal plan with the hope of extending it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Dr. Myers, how long?
30 minutes.
30
That's a real number, 30.
30 minutes, all right. Just you?
We'll need principals in, 3 principals,
Okay.
as needed, the principals.
Okay. So we're gonna go in, let me see if I can get Casey all screwed up. Let's go in at 8:15.
8:12.
We'll go 8:15 for 30 minutes to include Dr. Myers and any principals needed.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Ryan Ruda and Ryan Schreibogel. Third. Moved and seconded to go in executive session for 30 minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Dance, I zoomed him at 9 p.m. and so he's saying he'd take
We're good? Okay, we're back in session. I need a motion to hire Crystal Cook for high school social studies position.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan Ruda and Curtis. Moved and seconded to hire Crystal Cook. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I need a motion to hire Laura Lee Lepke as a 4th grade teacher, giving her credit for past experience working for High Plains Educational, while still working in the USD 363 school.
The number of years of time.
Yes, number of years.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan Schreibogel and Curtis. Moved and seconded to hire Laura Lee Lepke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I need a motion to hire Jeremy Bernhardt Purdy as a 6th grade social studies teacher.
So moved.
Ryan
Second.
Schreibogel and Ryan Ruda. Moved and seconded to hire Jeremy Bernhardt Purdy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I need a motion to hire Liberty Collins as a full-time para.
So moved.
Ryan Ruda and Ryan Schreibogel. Moved and seconded to hire Liberty Collins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to approve the supplementals as presented.
So moved.
Curtis,
Second.
Ryan Ruda. Moved and seconded to approve the supplementals as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to approve the summer employee hires as presented.
So moved.
Ryan Schreibogel,
Second.
Ryan Ruda. Moved and seconded to hire the summer employees. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That is all.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Ryan Ruda,
Second.
Casey or Jill? Jill. Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Good night.